We're standing in the middle of Beale's Cut. General Edward F. Beale was a hero of the Mexican-American War and Surveyor General of the state of California. In 1863, his biggest claim to fame was digging this deep slash in the mountains. My name is Philip Scorza, and I'd like to welcome you to our show, Points of Interest. As a resident of the Santa Clarita Valley and a student of history, I have found some really interesting places around our area. I would like to show you a couple of those places and tell you about the people and stories behind them. Edward F. Beale had the U.S. Army dig this cut in the sandstone to build the first wagon road north out of L.A. General Beale also had a toll house built, and he charged people to pass through. 25 cents for a horse and rider, $2 for a team of 12, and 10 cents for every loose animal. Since it was the only road heading north out of L.A., General Beale had you coming or going. For the next 21 years, General Beale collected tolls until he turned this road over to the county. Now, you had to realize back in those days, you had no choice. It was either steer clear out to the desert and then head north, or take Beale's road. But the automobile changed all that. In 1909, our legislators decided a more direct route was needed, a route north out of Newhall, and Beale's Cut did not figure into that. The engineers chose to build their road along the ridge top, hence the name Ridge Route. We're going to take a ride on the Ridge Route in just a little while. As you can see, the old Butterfield Stage Road looks pretty much the way it did when stagecoaches and wagon trains were using it.
Be careful, Pilgrim. Looks like a good place for an ambush.
Many movies have been shot using Beale's Cut as a backdrop. For instance, John Ford's immortal Western Stagecoach, while it was filmed almost entirely in Monument Valley, had one very important scene shot right here at Beale's Cut. It's when the Indians start to attack. We see the stagecoach coming right over the ridge, right through the middle of Beale's Cut, and the Indians, who are standing on the crest right above them, fire down upon the helpless stagecoach. So you're driving along Sierra Highway right by Antelope Valley Freeway, and you come to these two cement posts that are here, and you say to yourself, I wonder whatever happened to the bronze plaques and what was written on them. Well, it used to tell you that if you got out of your car here and hiked a quarter of a mile down this canyon, you would come to Beale's Pass. We're going to take a ride now on the Ridge Route. Why don't you come along with us?
I'd like to introduce our co-hostess, Denise Scorza.
Hi.
Also our driver, and she packed the lunch for us. Also along for the ride is my son, Casey, who's practicing to be a teenager. Sullen and uncommunicative.
ridge route was built where no road had been before. It was literally carved out of the mountain using Fresnos and scrapers. Officially known as the Tejon route, the public dubbed it the ridge route as it wound its way over the ridges or tops of the mountains. Opened in 1915, the concrete ribbon between Castaic and Gorman had 642 curves, which add up to 97 complete circles. Maybe that's why I feel like we're driving in circles. Out there you can see Interstate 5, and to the right of that is old Route 99. In 1933, Route 99 replaced the ridge route as the main highway north out of Los Angeles. In the early 60s, Interstate 5 replaced Route 99. The ridge route was a massive undertaking for the time, one that required hundreds of men using steam shovels, mule-drawn scrapers called Fresnos, and the rickety chain-drive solid-tire dump trucks of the era. This is Swede's Cut, near the summit of the route, and it was blasted through with dynamite. We're standing up on the top of Reservoir Hill, aptly named, I believe, for as you can see, there's a huge old reservoir here. A lot of people have written their names on it, etc., etc., and a couple of people like to throw rocks in it. The maximum speed was just 15 miles per hour when the road was built, although few people traveled that slowly. Accidents were plentiful, what with the steep curves and the sharp drop-offs. This road was considered one of the most dangerous in the world. Ironically enough, that's as fast as you can travel today, just 15 miles per hour. Any faster and you would shake your teeth loose, and who knows what you would do to your car. They're looking for pine cones.
From this tree here. This is not the biggest, but it's pretty big.
There's a huge one up here. And if we could get that one down. Like any well-traveled highway, services popped up along the way. Gas stations, garages, cafes, and places to sleep. Names such as the Tumble Inn, Queen Nell's Place, Martin's Place, all welcomed weary travelers for a price. At night, after dark, headlights along the ridge route formed a continuous chain as cars and trucks pulled into way stations. There were hostelries that served as speakeasies during Prohibition, with roulette wheels and a few slot machines. And out back, if you were so inclined, there was the Crib, a brothel, if you will, where girls of the line worked. Today, only the foundations of some of these places exist. Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
As you can see, there's nothing out back. Oh, wait a minute. I'm wrong.
Probably the most interesting and exciting place along the highway was a tiny town called Sandberg. Not much remains of it today except some cement slabs and a rock wall. But history thrived here when the highway existed. Built and named by a local rancher who was originally from the Swiss-German border, Hermann Sandberg put up a hotel that he named appropriately enough the Sandberg Lodge. He advertised the best steaks in town, and that was probably no lie given the dearth of competition. It was a log cabin chalet-style building with a large dance floor, a few slot machines, and a long, low building out back where one could find feminine companionship. The businesses along the Ridge Route disappeared when Highway 99 opened in the early 30s. But Sandberg as a town had one more claim to fame. During World War II, there was a nest of alleged Nazi spies working out of Sandberg, or at least one motherly German woman. She had set up a radio transmitter in the mountains and was beaming military secrets back to the Nazis. What secrets and how she got them, I don't know. The authorities arrested her and threw her in jail, and that's the last anybody ever heard of her. In 1962, the remains of the buildings of Sandberg burned to the ground, all except that long, low building that was out back. That was moved to some rancher's property and is now used as a bunkhouse. There's one more thing a little ways down the road that I would like to show you. Well, I was going to show you a sign that used to hang right here. It explained about the Ridge Route and when it was built and all that sort of thing, but unfortunately, somebody stole the sign. It's probably hanging in the same guy's bedroom who stole that other historical marker. Hey, it's getting a little windy out here. We have one more stop to make after this. Let's go. We thought this would be a really good place to end our little journey. We're up at Fort Tejon in the middle of the Grapevine. Fort Tejon was established in 1854, and its first commandant was General Edward F. Beale. That's right, the same Eddie Beale that built Beale's Cut and the first wagon road north out of Los Angeles. If you were lucky enough to drive on the Ridge Route early in this century and you survived it, you might want to send your friends a picture postcard telling them about it. These postcards, many of them hand-painted, show the many scenes and perils the travelers would encounter along the way. Scenes such as the Sandberg Inn, a bridge over Castaic Creek, and the Aqueduct Spillway just south of Newhall Pass, where today Interstate 5 and Antelope Valley Freeway meet. A couple of months ago at the California Conference of Historical Societies, which was hosted by the Santa Clarita Valley Historical Society, I met a gentleman who is an expert on the Ridge Route. He has agreed to come on our program today and to share some of his photographs with us and also talk to us on behalf of his efforts in trying to save this historic road. Harrison, Scott, would you come in here, please? Come on in and sign in, please. Hi. Thanks for joining us. Now, I know that you're working on behalf of this road and trying to preserve it and with the National Forest Service. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, Philip. I started out about 5 years ago just as an effort on my own to try to place the road on the Register of Historical Sites. In doing this, it'll help preserve it, maintain it, so it'll stay in its original condition and won't be compromised in any way by anything. They'll keep it in an original state, so to speak. Mm-hmm. It's one of the few, probably one of two roads in California which demonstrate early road construction, and it's pretty much as it was back in 1915.
With the exception of all of the hostelries and bars and taverns along the way are now gone.
We're standing in front of one of them. What is this site?
Yes, this the steps behind us here are the remnant of the National Forest Inn, which was on National Forest property on a lease basis, and it was a stopover place. They had a gas station and camping sites available and some cabins. And across the road from us here, they had a large metal garage, and this was one of the locations that people stayed at coming over the route. It unfortunately didn't lend itself well to blending into the national forest. Consequently, it was criticized.
Well, I know you brought some photographs with us, with you today, and we'd like to take a look at those, so why don't we do that next?
Certainly. Here we're looking at Sandberg Summit Hotel, and they had a sign out front which said, "Truck drivers and dogs not welcome." It was the high point along the ridge route. The place burned down due to a fireplace fire. Some embers went onto the roof, and unfortunately, although there's a fire station directly down the road, just less than a couple of blocks, they were out on patrol, the Forest Service Fire Department. Unfortunately, the place burnt to the ground before anybody could respond. Philip, here is the view of the Tumble Inn after it closed, of course, but in this picture it had been renamed Mountain View Lodge. Originally built as the Tumble Inn, and it was the second stop going south past Sandberg's. Philip, here we have a good view of the Grapevine. This, looking down into the valley, the long stretch of road in the flat area goes to Bakersfield, and then the winding road coming uphill was actually a 7% grade. It was a very, very difficult climb, very circuitous.
I would like to thank Harrison Scott for joining us today and for telling us a little bit about the Ridge Route and also for sharing your photographs with us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'd also like to thank the United States Forest Service, particularly Doug Milburn, for his efforts to make this project come to fruition.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank Denise Scorza, our camera operator, and our son Casey for being along with us today. And I'd like to thank you also for joining us. This is Philip Scorza for Points of Interest.